come on, man. And with the local DBC news, LL Cool J with a triumphant comeback.
More a salute. But tonight,
don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants. What suffers in fear?
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I know thoroughbreds when I see them. Ladies and gentlemen, the Four Horsemen and James J. Dillon.
You know, the TV ad says when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens, but when the Four Horsemen are around, everybody runs for their lives. Yeah. You know something, Jimmy Cornette? What so many people don't understand, being one of the Four Horsemen is not something you wake up every morning and put on, like a leather jacket, a pair of cowboy boots, maybe some little scarves. Being one of the Horsemen is a state of mind, a state of being. It's being proud to be one of the Four Horsemen. It's being proud to be a champion and doing whatever you have to do to stay a champion. That's what being one of the Four Horsemen means. You know, Jim Cornette, halfway through the Bashes, everybody expected Ric Flair to be not the world champion. Expected Ole and Arn to be down by the Road Warriors, and expected Ronnie Garvin to be carrying this. But the bottom line is that we're all up here still talking. All the hardware is still on our side of the fence. And you know what? The Road Warriors are still out here, yap, 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 what we're going to do to the Four Horsemen. Garvin, yap, 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 Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, Wahoo McDaniels, and the list goes on, and especially the Rock and Roll Express. Well, boys, the thing is, talk don't get it. Actions do. Get inside the squared circle and take the Four Horsemen down, and then we'll shut up. You think, Jimmy Cornette, what you got here are four well-developed men, four champions, four wealthy men, four men that know what life's all about, and most of all, four men that are champions thanks to the guidance and the tutelage of Mr. James J. Dillon. Ladies, the bottom line is you're looking at something that we all want to know what's causing all this. Woo! The Four Horsemen. Woo!
We had, say what? A whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's house,
word attack skills and vocabulary too. All the hits in the disc edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
Yo, everybody, back for the first time. It has been 2 weeks since Ringtime Pro Wrestling has hit the stage, but we are back at it again. Keith is riding solo tonight. Keisha will be back next week for our big wrap-up episode of the biggest party of the summer. But we have to do a preview, and for the preview, I'm going to sit in the saddle and break it down and give you the ins and the outs and everything that's going down at SummerSlam and basically the whole SummerSlam weekend. So, yes, I'm previewing the NXT Takeover show as we come back to Brooklyn for a huge NXT show. We'll get you caught up on everything that we've been doing and kind of what's been going on in the world of wrestling. Wrestling has been very, very busy. There's big news in TNA. There's big news in New Japan. There's big news in WWE. There's big news in Ring of Honor. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. Like I said, welcome. We are back. I want to say welcome back. Well, yeah, welcome back to y'all, too, because y'all haven't heard this melodious voice in a while. So, yes, welcome back. We took a 2-week hiatus. I had to move. Keisha had some job stuff going on. All in all, it's been a pretty cramped 2 weeks, plus real life, going to work every day and all that kind of stuff. So, we're sorry that you guys missed out on our thoughts about what's going on, but we're going to get you caught up as best as we know how. So, really, let's start New Japan. G1 Climax is over. It ended on the 14th, which was Sunday, and the winner is the cleaner Kenny Omega. Now, Block A and Block B winners both finished with 12 points. He took on Goto in the final for the title. And it's kind of, they made sure they took care of everybody. So, Okada finished second in Block A with 11 points. But it doesn't really matter. Okada's the champ. So you kind of don't expect the champion to win the G1 because, of course, he's going to defend his belt against the winner of the G1 at Wrestle Kingdom come January. Tanahashi finished also with 11 points because, he's going to stay near the top of the card also. Naito finished with 12 points, tied with Kenny Omega in Block B. And being the most recent former champion, of course, he, has to finish strong also. So, all in all, it was an excellent tournament. I thought there was a lot of good matches to go over. And pretty much next week, you'll probably look on the Ringtime Pro Wrestling website. And what we're going to do is give you a breakdown of the match. Because there's no way to watch the whole tournament. Well, there is a way to watch the whole tournament. You can turn on your New Japan World app. And you can sit there and watch all the tournament. But what you can't do is take the Cliff Notes versions, which we're going to give you probably the top 5 matches of the whole G1 Climax and give you an idea of what to check out. And of course, it will include the final. Kenny Omega winning this thing is huge, right? Like, I think he might be the biggest beneficiary of the mass exodus of New Japan. So, you got to remember, from January, from Wrestle Kingdom, this company looks drastically different. AJ Styles is gone. Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson are both gone. That's the bulk of your Bullet Club, right? Like, those are like cornerstones of the Bullet Club. They're gone. Shinsuke Nakamura. Probably one of your biggest stars. I think he was going to be due to hit. I think he would have won this year's G1. Assuming he would have stayed, I assume Shinsuke would have won this year's G1, and he would have went on to win the title at Wrestle Kingdom. Now, he's a former multiple-time world champ, but just like how I feel at WWE, you're not really the real champ until you win it at WrestleMania. I don't think until you really walk away out of Wrestle Kingdom with that belt that you're the man. Like, you officially established yourself as a man. Like, I don't know if Shinsuke officially established himself as the man in New Japan. Doesn't matter right now because he's tearing it up in NXT. So, like I said, the WWE established a real coup getting those 4 guys in one swap, right? Then you look at a young upper talent like Ibushi, who has not officially signed with WWE, but let's see, he's appeared in the Cruiserweight tournament. He's pretty much a favorite to win or go far, and he's done did a few matches on NXT. I would be surprised if you see him on Raw pretty soon, since Raw has the Cruiserweights exclusively. So, that's like 5 wrestlers from New Japan in the course of a year. Really a matter of months. So, what do they do? Kenny Omega was very poised to take that spot and step up and be the man. He made his intentions very well known when he kicked AJ Styles out the Bullet Club. Hey, he said he wasn't challenger for the Junior no more. He was coming for the Intercontinental. He was, and now I think he's elevated his goals even more. He wants the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He wants to be the man and well deserving, and he's only going to make himself a very, very rich man because they noticed this stateside, right? This is not going unnoticed here in the United States. All right, on from New Japan, let's get to the WWE. So right now we're looking at SummerSlam. This week we set up the big event, and this is huge. SummerSlam is the second biggest pay-per-view that WWE has. It's kind of funny because in the big 4 pay-per-views, the 2 really huge ones come kind of back to back. There's fillers in between, of course, but this is the biggest pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So after your WrestleMania storylines get sorted out, this is the first one. This is probably pretty much where I guess officially kicks off the new year, right? And then Survivor Series kind of goes and fills in the middle, and then Royal Rumble is a setup for WrestleMania, and then WrestleMania finishes out your year. So, like I said, first big one of the new year is going to be SummerSlam. And this is huge because this is the first one of the brand extension. So, where you would have one world title match. Now you're going to have two world title matches. Where you was going to have a U.S. title match or the IC. A lot of those belts were going to be settled already. But everybody has issues. And everybody has to iron out their card. So there's no way I don't see this thing going 4 hours. Like, they probably got it billed as 3 hours, but this thing is going to go 4 hours. I wouldn't make any plans before 11:45 on Sunday p.m. Pretty much. I would be settling down. I think the pre-show probably is going to have 2 matches in the pre-show. And then we're going to settle in, and probably in the main show, it's going to be locked and loaded. I don't think the matches will be extremely long. I think your main event matches will go 20 minutes as opposed to 30, just to try to get everything in. But you're going to be in for a long show. Monday night was pretty much establishing where we're going. It's kind of funny, the World Championship match of Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the new Universal Championship, but they're still couching kind of Roman Reigns and Rusev in a main event kind of setting. Like, they're closing out the show, they're opening up the show. They seem like the main storyline is driving this, which I don't think is doing Rollins or Balor any favors, especially Balor. Like, Rollins is in a good spot because he's been world champ before. I mean, he was carrying a company on his back prior to being injured. But Balor is your new young gun. This is the guy that you're trying to establish, right? So I don't think it's really doing him any favors if you're trying to put him in a world title fit, if you're going to slot him in non-main event setting. But all in all, I thought it was an okay Raw. We started off with Rusev calling out Roman Reigns because he wants an apology. And also, I feel kind of bad for Rusev. Like, they set Rusev up. They put him back in that monster heel role. He got the U.S. title back. He's looking good. And then we find out we're going to feed him to Reigns. Now, you think they've given up on Reigns? No, right? They took the title off of him. But I think they're going to try to build him slower, and they're going to start with the U.S. title. And also, Rusev, him and Lana, they got married very recently, and they pulled that into the storyline. They got married, for lack of a better term, real life. And they pulled into the storyline, and they found a way to disrespect him. And, I mean, they really job him out with that. And, hey, y'all going to turn that man into going to a shoot. It ain't going to be pretty. Y'all better leave him alone. Y'all keep trying to mess with him. I know y'all mad at him for when him and Lana announced the engagement and messed up y'all terrible storyline with Dolph Ziggler and Summer Rae, which was a terrible story and needed to die. And I'm just glad they fast forwarded it and killed it by just giving it away. But, and still, they punished Rusev for a very long time. But now it seems like he's coming out of the doghouse. But now he's facing Roman Reigns, a guy who seems to be in a similar doghouse for a little bit. But not anymore. He's back and he's challenging for the United States title. We'll see how it all plays out. They had a match on Raw because this one wasn't for the title. This was for honor because Rusev wanted to avenge the honor of his wife, which is very noble. So that set was set by general manager Mick Foley, and he understood that. Sami Zayn defeated Sheamus on Monday night, which was, solid match. But I've seen Sami Zayn defeat Sheamus before. It's kind of funny because it's like, with this new setup, they don't know where they're going with a lot of guys. Like, if you're not involved in a theme for a belt, it is kind of hard to figure out what they want to do with you. Sami Zayn is in that slot. Like, I don't know what they're doing with Sami Zayn or where he's going. Sheamus a lost soul too. I mean, hey, they would love for him to be in the main event, but it just never quite works out. New Day defended their tag team titles against the Dudley Boys. Well, they didn't finish us. They beat the Dudley Boys. The titles wasn't on the line, which is kind of weird. growing up in the 80s and 90s, if the tag team champions was wrestling another tag team on TV, the belts was on the line. They didn't wrestle. Even when they wrestled jobbers, the belts were on the line. Just kind of weird, right? But neither here nor there. They defeat the Dudleys. But we're about to see the New Day in a very interesting situation. Big E is out. He is hurt. So it's up to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston to carry the load. In their 3-man lineup, usually Big E is always a staple because you use one of your fast guys with your big muscle guy. That's not the case anymore. You're going to basically take your 2 young, fast, and technical guys and try to work something. So it gives a new shape to the New Day as far as how they present their in-ring product. What do I think will happen Sunday? Yeah, you got to listen later on in the show. That's probably another 60 minutes away from what we're doing right now. But I thought they looked good against the Dudleys, and they're taking care of them. And I think Xavier is really showing more ring time, that he's as talented as some people knew he was. If you've ever watched NXT, you knew Xavier Woods had some skills. If you are old school like me, and you remember old school TNA, and you remember a cat called Consequences Creed, then yeah, you know that the guy can go. Quiet as kept. I have an autograph of Consequences Creed in my TNA program from a show I went to in Macon back in 2008. And it's kind of funny. I showed my daughter. She was like, wow. Yeah, good Consequences Creed. From local here in Marietta, Georgia. I think he went to Sprayberry with Cody Rhodes. Random wrestling fact that you just don't need to know. I like Nia Jax. She is killing people still. She and Braun Strowman have a very good presentation that they're doing on Raw. Eventually they'll feed her to somebody and she'll get into the main storyline. But right now, they're keeping her away from Charlotte. They're keeping her away from Sasha. They're keeping her away from all those people. And they're just letting her go and crush random ladies in a given city. And I like it. So she'll stack up some wins. And she'll stack up some fear. So whenever she's placed as an obstacle, she'll be ready. And her opponents will have legitimate fear. Because they've never watched somebody beat her. Right? So that'll be a place. Heath Slater. That guy's working hard. Because he get his ass whooped on Raw and SmackDown every week trying to get a job. And eventually I think somebody's going to sign him. Never been a big fan of Heath, but I will give credit where credit is due. The guy is comical. He is always around for, he's willing to take that beating. Like, after a while, you just got to be like, look, I'll go back to the Indies. I'm sure I can command some good bread. Or I go to TNA. I mean, they like to take a former WWE guy and give him a title. I just wouldn't keep taking this the ass whoopers. But he does it. And this is what he took from Brock Lesnar, because he had to come out and confront Brock Lesnar. I'm not confronting Brock for nothing. I'm sorry. I don't know the check you can write for me to go out there and be like, yeah, I want to get in front of Brock Lesnar. I don't think that check actually exists. But it happened. Big Cass defeated Kevin Owens via disqualification on Raw. Set up for their tag team match. Cass and Enzo will be taking on Jericho and Kevin Owens at SummerSlam. Why? Because they don't have nothing to do for any of them. Cass and Enzo need to be setting up for a title run. Haven't quite got there yet. Jericho, I think, is going to be finishing up his time in the company. And Kevin, they just don't really have nothing for him. So, they paying both of those guys a lot of money. So, here's the match. Only thing Kevin and Jericho got in common is that they heels, they arrogant, they're Canadian. But, hey, you can get some mileage out of that. I'd even run a pro-Canada storyline. Why not? Those always work. Like, literally, they always work. Neville has been back, has been impressive since he's been back. He defeated a Jinder Mahal. One thing you gonna notice with the brand extension too, dudes is coming back. So guys that may have got released and guys that you haven't seen in a while, they could be back. Well, some guys won't be back because they are going to sign with TNA. But a lot of guys that you haven't seen in a while, stuff like that, they coming back. They are going to be around. So I mean, that's pretty much it for Raw. Oh, just FYI, Roman Reigns did defeat Rusev because why not? He's going to beat Rusev, so he probably go beat him Sunday too. Who knows, right? So let's give ourselves some SmackDown. SmackDown was a solid show also. Now, with SmackDown, you got a picture of the main event, and you know what the main event is. The main event is going to be Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. And they take center stage for the most part of the show over on SmackDown. You see some people, and you see the Wyatt family, you see AJ Styles, you see John Cena, but your mainstay is going to be Dean and Dolph. SmackDown is a very interesting roster because you got some old heads on the top end like Cena and Orton, but it's mostly a very youthful and new roster. These are the people who came up through the NXT territory. So let's go through and give you a good down to Tuesday. I don't know who's going to be the heel or the babyface for Ziggler, but I think they're trying to establish one with Ziggler and Ambrose. Ziggler kicked Ambrose during the episode of Miz TV. Kicked him nice and good, gave him a super kick. Now, that sends a message, but the way both of those characters are set up, it doesn't really make one of them a bad guy, right? So that happened. Probably the best match on the show was American Alpha, the Usos, and the Hype Brothers. And they defeated Breezango, the Vaudevillians, and the Ascension. So yeah, we had a 12-man tag match, right? And it was pretty much a showcase for American Alpha. That was the end-all be-all of that match. And I have to say, I was thoroughly impressed. Okay, I'm not sure if SmackDown is going to institute their own tag team titles, but I have to say, it'd be a good idea. And American Alpha probably winning a tournament to get those new tag team titles would be a great idea. But, I mean, hey, or maybe they don't win the tournament. Maybe the Usos win the tournament, and you have a feud with the Usos and American Alpha. I think that would be interesting, especially if you flip the Usos heel. Just speculation, something just throwing out there. If you decide to use it, you can have the idea. It's free. It's yours. Right? Eva Marie does not debut again. She does not wrestle. She ends up showing up at the end later in the show, but she doesn't wrestle again. Heath Slater ends up in a match with Randy Orton based on the conversation he had at the beginning of the show with Shane and Daniel Bryan and Randy, and he wins by DQ. But Randy is impressive and does what he has to do. But hey, Heath Slater got the win, and almost got a contract, but he was a little delirious and it didn't work out. Dean defeated Eric Rowan. Really not sure what the Wyatt family has in store for them down the line. Becky Lynch and Carmella defeat Natty and Alexa Bliss. That's when Eva Marie shows up, but ends up costing them the match when Naomi comes out. So that's the thing. John Cena defeats Alberto Del Rio in the main event. AJ Styles tries to hype up Del Rio before the match, but yeah, doesn't really work. I really wasn't that enthralled. Like I said, highlight of the show for me was American Alpha. I thought those guys were really good. We also learned that Kurt Hawkins is coming back. Yes, the Kurt Hawkins, former Edgehead with Zack Ryder. He is coming back to the WWE. He will be a part of the SmackDown roster, and they are doing some promos for him to get him reintroduced to the WWE audience, which I think is awesome. It will give the kids a hand to work with who knows what he's doing, and hey man, they could possibly package him up with the Hype Bros and maybe do something with that. I don't know, but we'll see when that comes back. Also, as I talked about having a tag team championship, SmackDown got enough ladies where they might be able to run them a women's title. So be on the lookout for that. I don't think we're really going to get to really shape up each brand until they do their own individually branded pay-per-views, which I think are starting in September. So when those guys start doing their own individual pay-per-views, which each one of them is running a pay-per-view every month. Mind that. Each brand is running a pay-per-view every month. So as us podcast people and stuff like that, we got a load of schedule coming. The Cruiserweight tournament still is going on. G1's over in New Japan, but hey, I think the Super J is about to pick back up. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is we're going to not shut down, but this is going to be the end of the first half part of the show. We'll come back with birthdays, news and notes, and we'll preview NXT, and then we'll come back again and we'll preview SummerSlam. So hey, sit back and enjoy, and we'll be back on the other end.
Day after day, night after night, year after year, I use all the critics and the naysayers as fuel to make myself better. What do you want from me? What do you want me to do, huh? What do you want me to admit? You want me to admit that everything you've said to me over the last 3 weeks makes me want to kick your head right off your face? You're right. I admit it. You're right. But you're going to have to admit something. You're going to have to admit after SummerSlam that you and you alone were that last push to put me over the edge and beat you for that title.
You don't like pressure. Never have. You can't handle pressure. That's why you've never just grabbed the ball and scored a touchdown. You got to have ice water running through your veins to have the big job, kid. You're happy just being some sarcastic little star of your own crappy movie. Take a look at this. Take a look at how big this chip on your shoulder has gotten. Let me tell you something. This chip on your shoulder, it's going to weigh you down, and it's going to bury you. Because you have never felt pressure like you're going to feel at SummerSlam when you're in the ring with me and you're trying to take my championship away. You're going to get schooled, kiddo. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get embarrassed, and you're going to get hurt. But you're going to prove something, all right? You're going to prove something to the whole world. You're going to prove something to these people. You're going to prove something to yourself, and you're going to prove something to me. You're going to prove that you don't want it bad enough. You've never wanted it bad enough.
So we are back, and it is birthday time. All right, we're only going to go back a few days. So the 16th, which would have been Tuesday, the great late Dick Murdoch would have been celebrated birthday. He would have been 70. Big Cass turns 30. Wow, kids born in 1986 are 30. Now that makes you feel old. But yeah, Big Cass is 30. Paige celebrated birthday on the 17th, which would have been, I guess, Wednesday. Yeah, which is kind of ironic, which we will get to later on in the show. Today, Friday, we will be receiving the show. Lillian Garcia celebrates her birthday. Lillian Garcia is 50. Never would have thought it. I would have thought 40. Never would have thought 50. The only reason I would have thought 40 because she's been in the WWE so long. But no, Lillian Garcia is turning 50. Wow. Tomorrow, it would be Byron Saxton celebrating a birthday. And that is it for our birthday segments. Now on to the news. The WWE is handing out suspensions like candy, man. So it was announced earlier this week, actually Tuesday, I believe, that Alberto Del Rio will be suspended for 30 days for violating the wellness policy. It's his first-time offender, and they will be going ahead with that 30-day suspension. Well, not to be outdone, Alberto Del Rio's girlfriend Paige got suspended for 30 days for also violating the wellness policy. Now, you want to find it interesting? Remember I told you the 17th? Yeah, that's the day they announced her suspension. Yeah, so on her birthday, she got news that she was suspended. Good job, WWE. Always stay classy. But just announced to yesterday, Thursday, Eva Marie got a 30-day suspension. I don't know if all three of them went to the same party or what and smoked the wrong doobie or what happened. But yeah, 30-day suspension is handed down like crazy right now. And it is for the first violation of the company's talent wellness policy. Now, to be fair, don't know what happened, right? It could be PEDs, could be some weed. I think the rumor with Roman Reigns was Adderall. So I don't really want to go too far into speculation on what it could be or what happened. But man, whatever happened, they are tightening their belt tight on that wellness policy. So I would probably be ready to stay clear. Just to set off the rumor mill, not really set off the rumor mill. Goldberg will be at some SummerSlam festivities this week. What breaks down is that he's on the cover of the 2K17 WWE game. So of course, he's going to do appearances related to the video game, and of course that's going to start wrestling fans to speculate. Which, to be fair, when Brock got the video game cover, it came back. When Sting got the video game, he came back. So the speculation is that, hey, maybe if when you give Goldberg the cover, he may come back and he may do one more match. I probably would not do. I don't know. He's got a lot older, and I don't know what kind of shape he's in, and I don't know if he really wants to do it. And then, can you produce an opponent that will bring the box office for it? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Goldberg is not coming back to lose. He's not coming back to job to somebody. I mean, you could give him Taker or you could give him Brock Lesnar, but I don't think he's coming back to do a job. He's not coming back to do anybody any favors. Like, I think he's coming back to win if he was to come back. So, keep an eye on it, see what happens. Vince McMahon made a lot of news today. He sold $29 million of WWE stock. That's a big chunk of stock. Now, he might have just did it for the cash flow. And I know he's been working on some estate planning and stuff like that. But he sold 1.5 million shares of stock yesterday. They said for the purposes of estate planning. Now, the shares were sold at $19 a share, which gave it a net worth of the $29 million. Almost crossed that $30 million threshold. He sold a lot of shares, previously for like $36 million. So yeah, it could be for the estate planning because he's getting up in age and he just want to make sure things are taken care of right, and that his kids. Because here's the thing: if he takes the cash now and he has the cash now, and he leaves it to the Linda and the kids and stuff like that, they're good. But he can't just hand off the stock because the stock is going to drop when he dies. Will it come back up? Yeah, but upon his initial death announcement, WWE stock is going to take a hit. So, I think he just wanted to have the cash on hand just in case. Or who knows? I really don't know. Like, that's just a speculation from the peanut gallery. Also, Gawker has announced it is shutting down operations. If you don't remember, Gawker is the website that Hulk Hogan was suing because of the sex tape leak, and Gawker has really stalked a lot of celebrities. Hogan legal fees were funded by a wonderful benefactor who was also the co-founder of PayPal, I found out, who can't stand Gawker. And I think since Gawker doesn't have $140 million to fork over to Hulk Hogan, they got to shut down. So, after 14 years online, they are done. Sad to see them go? Not really. We're a big reader on Gawker anyway. It's just an opportunity for an online company where I could have worked. Is gone. Other than that, but I'm not into trash media either, so that's not really true either. So, Yeah, Gawker is going to be no more. One of the biggest things in the wrestling world. If you haven't known, last week, Damian Sandow made his debut in TNA. His new name slips me right now, but yeah, he is in TNA officially, and he had made his debut last week. Also, shakeups at the top. Apparently, Billy Corgan is going to take over TNA. He is going to be the man in charge. Dixie Carter still will remain with the company and will still have a spot, but Billy Corgan is the president now. You may know Billy Corgan, member of the Smashing Pumpkins, and avid pro wrestling fan. Ran a very successful indie promotion out of Chicago. Well, now he's in charge of the big leagues. When he came on board, I think a lot of us thought it was a matter of time before he was going to be in a power role with said company. So now it's here. I mean, honestly, we thought he was going to buy the thing. So, you know what I mean? Right now, he's going to be taking over the day-to-day management of the company. And that roster right now is happy. It's been reinvigorated. It went to a youth movement. One thing I will give TNA credit for. They realized that they needed a reboot. And they realized they were getting stale. And they did something that I wouldn't have recommended, but I understand now. It was time for big contracts and big guys to come up, and they let them walk. It was like, hey, man, we can't keep paying Kurt Angle, especially Kurt being injured and stuff like that. Samoa Joe was getting on in years. Robert Roode, Eric Young. I mean, these were staples of the company. And, I mean, it all started when they screwed up with AJ Styles, which I still prefer. They screwed up, but it doesn't really matter. They let a lot of their high-priced guys go, but they're building around guys like Drew McIntyre, well, actually, Drew Galloway now, EC3, who is oodles of talent. And, I mean, that's the direction they're going to go in. Lashley's going to hang around for a little bit, but even he's not the future. So, I think TNA has established that they are going to move forward with the guys they got and not really try to. And hopefully, here's the thing. I'm always so up and down with TNA because they get good and then they find a way to screw it up. They get good, then they find a way to screw it up. But, you know what I mean? I think they'll work it out. And I think they'll figure out what to do. And, I mean, a lot of people have faith in Billy Corgan. So we'll see. Because, I mean, who knows? I have Pop TV now. That's a positive. Since I've moved, I got a new cable package with a new company, and I have Pop TV. So I will be watching some TNA. And I'll tell y'all a little bit about it, since I'll actually have a chance to watch it now and see what they will produce. Also, really huge news in the wrestling world. Ring of Honor has announced a partnership with Mexican promotion CMLL. Now, I knew they were working with AAA for a little while, but I guess, I don't know if that is sour. I don't know if they've just decided to do different things, but now they're working with CMLL. CMLL might be the biggest promotion in Mexico. I don't know which them or AAA who does more business. I know CMLL for me is more accessible. It comes on a few of the Mexican channels that I have already, and they've always came on. It's not a hard show to follow either, right? So they're around, and them and Ring of Honor working together. Now, Ring of Honor was already working with New Japan, so I think it's really just a matter of existing business relationships, right? New Japan works with CMLL. Actually, they broadcasted a few of their big shows on the New Japan World Network. So now, with Ring of Honor being a part of the mix, that is going to be a huge talent exchange that they can pine from. And these are all financially solvent companies. Yeah, I mean, with ROH being backed by Sinclair Broadcasting and CMLL being one of the largest promotions in Mexico, and New Japan being the biggest promotion in Japan. I mean, that's a wealth of talent And I think what it'll allow is all those talents, one, to get major international exposure, because there's 3 countries that you can work out of. And what you do with your talent is you allow them to get monster paydays. Because, hey, ROH doesn't draw the biggest crowds, but the idea of that, hey, your guys should go perform at Wrestle Kingdom in front of that Tokyo Dome audience and make that kind of money from that promotion, or do a huge show down in Mexico, might be liable to you to keep them under contract as your company grows. And I think what these companies are going to have to do, and this is probably the downfall of TNA, I don't think they worked well with other companies, and maybe Billy could fix that. But what ROH has is a good dojo where they train a lot of talent. New Japan trains a lot of talent, and then they have a feeder system from Noah. CMLL trains a lot of talent. The styles are drastically different in each company, so they give you a different feel when you see the different matches. And with, like I said, with those partnerships and allowing your talent to make more money, you can stave off those talent raids by the WWE. Now, one of those companies might grow a little too big, and then want to, start trying to take each other over. As long as they don't start trying to cannibalize each other, I think they'll be all right. But yeah, that's going down in wrestling right now. So without further ado, let's get to the NXT preview. We're going back to Brooklyn for TakeOver Part 2. This show is loaded, man. I don't think there's a dead match in the whole bunch. So, making her debut is Ember Moon. Real name Adrian Reese. She's been in the game about 9 years. Just to give you a little background, and she's going to take over Billie Kay. Both of these young ladies wrestled in Shimmer, and being with Evolve and Gabe Sapolsky, he has his thumb on the pulse. So, and I'm sure Triple H watches. He scouts everything because he loves the indies, and it makes sense. See, Triple H came up from an indie. So that's how he got started. He came from an indie, worked his way to WCW, then came to WWE. So I think he appreciates the indies a little bit more than some other people. But he's been minding the indies, and he's both his days from Shimmer. Ember Moon actually trained at Booker T's Pro Wrestling Alliance, which became Reality of Wrestling now. And if you look at some of her trainers, Lance Hoyt, who has WWE pedigree, the legendary Skandar Akbar. You can't learn from better people, right? And Rodney Mack, who's a former performer and also married to former WWE Women's Champion Jazz. Just some random information. But she came through that stable and came through that system and learned her craft. Her opponent was to be announced, but we now know it's going to be Billie Kay. She stepped up to the plate last week on NXT. So that will be that. Pretty much, I'm going to go with Ember Moon is going to win because, I mean, that's where we're sitting at. We got a tag team title match. The Revival is going to take on Tommaso, Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. So when you look at that, who's going to do what? I think the Revival retain the titles, but I think it's going to be an incredible match. Incredible match. And I wouldn't be surprised if Champion Gargano won, but I'm pretty sure it's going to stick with the Revival. I think they're going to hang around NXT for a little while longer. We're going to see the TakeOver debut of Bobby Roode. Yes, one Bobby Roode. He will be taking on Andrea Lamas. I'm pretty sure Bobby Roode's going to win. I mean, guys always win their TakeOver debut, right? So let's go ahead and just slot that to Bobby Roode as he makes his way up the chart. A talent like Bobby Roode in NXT is crazy because I think he's main roster gold. Like, I don't know if I'd put him on Raw. I don't know if he fits Raw. Like, he's definitely a killer on SmackDown. Like, on SmackDown, he's immediate number one contender, title contender on SmackDown. And eventually, I guess he'd have to come over to Raw. And I think he can make waves on Raw. But I think it's good having him in NXT, though. Because one thing about a developmental league, I think you need guys that are clearly better than them for them to get better. The only way you get better at anything is by taking on people better than you, right? So to get an established ring veteran like Bobby Roode, I think will be very helpful. Also, what NXT does, it allows guys from like TNA and these other promotions to fully understand the dimensions of the WWE ring. Like, one thing I noticed in some of the Shinsuke Nakamura matches, they get better now that he's been in these rings and had these matches more than a few times. Same thing with Austin Aries, who also has a match on this card tonight. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Now that they understand the dimensions of the WWE ring, which is a lot larger than you have in other promotions, you get to kind of figure out where to be and how to set your spots up a little better. But yeah, I definitely think Bobby Roode will win this match. Austin Aries will be taking on No Way Jose. No Way Jose. I think Austin Aries is going to be one of the guys that challenges for the NXT title before he goes to the main roster. But No Way Jose wants revenge. And I think they believe in this guy. I mean, he's a big kid with a good look. And I like the gimmick so far. I think it's fun. And everybody likes a fun gimmick. But here's a chance for him to show he's serious. And to show that he can really bring it. No Way Jose in an upset. I think he upsets the kid. Right? Women's title match. Asuka takes on Bayley for the WWE Women's NXT title. I said WWE. I'm sorry, NXT Women's title. I can make cases for both of these guys, right? Asuka is on a roll of dominance that we just haven't seen in a while. Bayley wants her belt back. She lost it. She never went for a rematch right away. Then Nia Jax was in her way. Nia Jax is gone. Nia Jax is on the main roster. Eva Marie was around fighting. Eva Marie is gone. She's on the main roster. These are the last two from the old guard that's standing around. As they rebuilt the women's division in NXT, which hence the Ember Moon and Billie Kay match is why it's so important. Because now we have to come with the new crop. That's the beauty of NXT. It's college football, right? Every 4 years, you're going to graduate players. Now it's time for the guys who were freshmen last year to step up. So, here with this, I think Asuka wins because it's time for Bayley to go to the main roster. I think she should have been, like, she made her debut at Battleground as Sasha's tag team partner. It's time for her to be on the main roster. She's the only one out of her clique that didn't hit the main roster. Charlotte's on the main roster. Sasha's on the main roster. Becky Lynch is on the main roster. It's time. I would probably slot her to SmackDown. It seems like she would go Raw, but Raw's loaded enough. It's Sasha and Charlotte. They're running a roost, but they have like Alicia Fox. They got some people they have other women, right? SmackDown loaded with women, but a lot of notoriety. Natty's there, who would be probably a good heel foil for Bayley coming out the gate. Becky Lynch is there, but you still need a few more stars, and I think Bayley would give SmackDown that extra push on the women's side. But it's something to consider. I don't know. Like, we have to figure it out, and that kind of thing. So that's the women's match. So yeah, Asuka's gonna retain her title. That I can be sure of. The NXT title. Samoa Joe defends his belt against Shinsuke Nakamura. Just a quick fact. Do you know Samoa Joe has been in the main event at the last 4 takeovers? Yeah. So he lost to Baylor twice. He beat Baylor at the last one. And now he's taking on Nakamura. So yeah, he has been in the last 4 main events of NXT TakeOver. I'm not sure where he's getting caught up. See, Nakamura, I think he's going to stay a little while. And they've got plans to use him in NXT and, make that go. But where do we go with Joe? It should say, you know what? I think Joe retains. Here's why. He had to take those 2 early losses. Now, he avenged a loss. And did he, of course he won a house show, but I think he's going to pull off a very gutsy one against Sensei, and then Nakamura's going to want his rematch. And there's going to be some shenanigans that happen probably. So Nakamura has to get his rematch, and I think it all works out from there. Like, I think Nakamura ends up with the world title. But yeah. So that is the TakeOver show in a nutshell. Yeah, I think Joe wins, and like I said, there'll be shenanigans because Shinsuke still hasn't looked good. Like, we can't have Nakamura not look good in that match, and it's going to be good enough to award a second match. So
certainly one of the true international wrestling stars in the world today is with us right now, Mr. Ric Flair,
the international wrestling star of all time. The golden-haired stallion, Mr. Everything, Ric Flair, the nature boy, the man that drives them wild. Everywhere he goes, custom-made from head to toe, whether it be one of my custom-made robes, custom-made suit, my custom-made Rolls Royce, my jet, or one of my lovely ladies. Wherever I am, people know they are seeing the best because Ric Flair is the toughest piece of work in pro wrestling today. Wahoo McDaniels, Steamboat, Wrestling 2, Wrestling 1, Tony Atlas, all these fellas just trying to be where Ric Flair already is, at 27, a millionaire, anything he wants, any woman he wants, just like that. You know why? Because my name is Ric Flair, the greatest, the legend, the young crown world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a chance to see Ric Flair, don't miss it.
Welcome to SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. WWE's second largest pay-per-view. Like I said, it's the one with all the marbles. They even start to have events around SummerSlam. Like, they have like 2 or 3 days of access now. I mean, they're taking over New York City since Los Angeles doesn't do it anymore. So it is coming to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, where it was last time. And we are ready for the big event. And it has 11 matches slated for the show. 11. Like I said, at least 2 of these matches are going to end up on the pre-show. But we're going to go down the card and break them down one by one and tell you what we think. So, Cesaro will take on Sheamus in the first match of a best-of-7 series. Now, I think this is creative. Giving them a best-of-7 series will explain why they're wrestling so much, but it will give both of those guys attention. And they don't necessarily have to have a belt for it. Now, what's the end game of the best-of-7 series? I don't know. But I'm going to give Cesaro the first match of that best-of-7 series. I think he's going to take that first match and go ahead and establish himself as the leader of the clubhouse. The Miz will defend his IC title against Apollo Crews. I don't see Miz dropping that belt right away. Like, I think for the betterment of Apollo and try to build him up, I think they're going to make him chase Miz. Like, Miz is going to win, but it's going to be shenanigans. Expect Maurice to get involved, but there's going to be shenanigans and protect Miz's title. And that's a Raw match. I forget, just like the Sheamus and Cesaro was a Raw match. It's very important that I delineate whether it's a Raw or SmackDown match, because we got to, value the time of the shows, right? Enzo and Cass will take on Jericho and Kevin Owens in a tag match. This is easily going Enzo and Cass, right? Like, I think the thing is with Enzo and Cass, their trajectory is towards the tag team titles. And I think this is just a stopgap for them. Once again, I think Jericho's going to be leaving for a little while, so this is probably just a stopgap match for them. Speaking of other tag teams, the New Day will defend their tag team titles against Gallows and Anderson. The New Day has had a wonderful run with the tag team titles. They've been champs for quite a while, and they've been very entertaining. We watch them go from heels and become baby faces. So it's been a lot of growth with the New Day since they've had those belts. But I think with Big E out, it'll be time for Gallows and Anderson to go ahead and take their place at the top of the tag team heat. They will have came over from Japan after winning the IWGP titles and now be WWE tag team champions. Talented guys, big guys. I think there's the size of brute force. They're just going to look too overmatched for the New Day. Now, when Big E comes back, can they challenge? Then we have an interesting thing that we got going on. Now, if Big E shows up to the pay-per-view and then he's cleared to go, that could be interesting. But right now, as it stands, with Xavier Woods and Kofi holding on to the belts, I think they drop him to the club. And I don't think it's too early for a club to be claiming their rights. So let's go ahead and book that. Gallows and Anderson, new tag team champions. And that's your first title change of the night, right? Then we move along. And all these matches are heavy. I don't even know. Carmella and Becky Lynch will take on Naomi will take on Natalya and Alexa Bliss in a 2-on-3 handicap match. Now, you can remember, Eva Marie was scheduled to be the third partner for Natalya and Alexa Bliss, but since she's suspended for her wellness policy violation, she will not be taking part in SummerSlam. I don't think they're going to leave this match 2-on-3, especially 2-on-3 handicaps never really work when you have a team of 3 baby faces against 2 heels, right? Now, generally they'll do 2 baby faces against the 3 heels, and you'll watch the baby faces overcome the insurmountable odds. But 3-on-2, when you're dealing with heels versus baby faces, I think they're going to have to get a third partner, which they have a bevy of women to choose from. So I think they'll get them a third partner, and they just haven't announced it yet. I'm not going to leave it as just a handicap match. I think they got an idea what they want to do. That being said, moving on to the next match. Charlotte will be challenging. It's her rematch clause. She's going to go against Sasha Banks. Dana Brooke is barred from ringside. So Charlotte has to go at it all alone against Sasha Banks. This is simple. Sasha retains. She's not going to lose her very first title defense on a major pay-per-view. Like, this is her coming out party. This is the thing. She should have been champ a long time ago. Like, this was a WrestleMania mistake made right. But, yeah, I'm going to go with that. Like, I'm going to say Sasha defeats Charlotte. I don't know. I mean, it's technically sound as Charlotte is. It's just she's missing something. But she'll figure it out there. But, yeah, it's good. She'll get some vacation. But I'm going to go with Sasha. Sasha's going to keep that belt. Rusev defends the United States Championship against Roman Reigns. Like I said, both of these guys were in the doghouse. But Rusev was in a bigger doghouse than Roman. Roman was just a more of, hey, man, you were supposed to be the man, and you kind of dropped the ball. Rusev is more of, we was pissed and we hate everything about what you did. But at the end of the day, this is them feeding Rusev to Roman Reigns. That's what it's about. The Roman Reigns thing is still very much in full effect, and I think they figure like, hey man, this is just where he turns it all around. And, you know, that's a dangerous thing waiting on somebody to turn it all around. I think they're going to give Roman a shot with the U.S. title. And they're going to try to build him out for that way. So he's going to beat Rusev. And he's going to walk away with the U.S. title and bring it back to Raw. And they're going to try to figure out opponents for him. And try to see if they can challenge him enough to, I would get his in-ring work up and to get fans to buy in. I think they'll buy in the U.S. title. Plus, I mean, I think there's still a lot of people who just hate Russia, right? So, even though Rusev is Bulgarian, I mean, yeah. When you deal with Americans, they're all the same. But yeah, I'm going with Roman Reigns. I think Reigns takes the title. AJ Styles and John Cena in a singles match. I think it'd be a waste if AJ didn't come away with a win, right? Like, I think he's already faced Cena twice on pay-per-view and lost. And I think it'd be a waste if AJ, especially if Cena's going to go out for a while, I think it'd be a big waste for AJ to lose. That being said, it is John Cena in the WWE. It is hard to convince Superman to take an L. And he has to take a lot of clean ones in recent years. But I think this one will stand out. I think it's time for AJ to assert himself a little bit more now that he's in the WWE. And I think this would be a good springboard win for him. Like I said, especially if John Cena's going out for a while, you need to protect the talent that you have on hand. And I think this would be a good slot for AJ. Dean Ambrose takes on Dolph Ziggler to fit in the WWE Championship. I think Dolph being back at SmackDown is very helpful for him. I think it's where he belongs. I think he's understood by the crowd, and the crowds just subsequently come to see SmackDown, as opposed to Raw, which I think are a lot more cynical audiences. And, you know, they try to be hecklers, and they're trying to pop the wrestlers. It's Ziggler, right? I think Ziggler beats Ambrose. I think Ambrose has had a good run with the belt. It is nice that he's had his run. He's cashed in money in the bank. He did everything he was supposed to do. But I think that this is a Ziggler. I think Ziggler is having some mean streak, and I think there's a shot at him maybe to turn the heel. So I'm gonna go with Arrow. I'm sorry, not go with Arrow. That's Chris. I'm going with Ziggler, right? Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton in a crossover match. This is neither Raw or SmackDown. Randy's a SmackDown guy. Brock's a Raw match. This is one of the highlights of the class of 2002, right? And they call it 15 years in the making. I think that's kind of inaccurate, especially since both of these guys have wrestled before. They've wrestled on SmackDown. You can YouTube it. So it's not like they haven't seen each other before. Have they evolved greatly? Randy, more than anything, has definitely evolved into, make stuff happen. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar defeats Randy Orton. But there's no shame by Orton in his loss. Like, he's going to be a hard-fought, hard-scrap match. It's not just going to be like 3 minutes of annihilation. Like, I think that's, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, with that being the case, and you got, like I said, the class of 2002 going at it, it's going to be Brock. Like, there's no reason or no logical excuse for Brock to lose right now. And I think that's supposed to be a bank, though. So, I'm gonna go with. Oh yeah, I already went with my position. It's Brock. Brock takes it out. He takes an RKO, but still gets back up. He's ready. He's cyborg. He goes right. Yeah. So your next match is Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the new WWE Universal Championship. I don't think Balor wins in his first match. I think he has to overcome some obstacles also. Like, he's too green. Like, I think Seth Rollins is the guy to carry the ball again. Now, there's some problems and there's some things that, maybe should be addressed. But One thing I didn't like with Raw was Seth calling out Finn Balor as the Demon, and the Demon showed up. That should be strictly pay-per-view entrance. That is not something that should be trifled with for TV. Like, that is strictly a pay-per-view entrance. And I think they should figure out that and handle it that way. I think Finn is going to create a hell of a match. And it's going to be a hard-fought match. But I think Rollins is going to keep his belt. Yeah, so Seth Rollins will walk away with the belt. And then he'll probably defend the title against Finn at the next Raw pay-per-view. But, Seth Rollins will be a champ. With that, I think I ran through all 11 matches fairly quickly. Wow. Okay. So we're going to be done for today. And we'll be back next week. And we'll recap the whole show. We'll recap NXT. We'll get you caught up on the Cruiserweight Classic, which is going deep into the second round. I think the second round might be over on TV. And next week's will be starting the third round. But we're getting towards the end of that. So be on the lookout for a full report on that. Like I said, there'll be an article about G1, and we'll break it all down. And with that said, done, we are out.